What's the oddest thing you thought was normal but turned out to be a medical issue? I've discovered lately that I have absolutely no idea what is supposed to be normal with a human body, so it got me curious. What's the weirdest, oddest, craziest thing that you've always thought was a normal function for you, but turned out it was actually a symptom of or underlying medical issue? I didn't get glasses until I was an older child. I remember being shocked that things didn't actually get blurry the farther away they were. I literally thought that's how vision worked. I remember incredulously looking at the crisp mountains in the distance, just in awe that I could see every tree and every outline. No more blurry blobs. The notion that people listen with both ears appeared false until I realized I'm deaf in one ear. I always thought I just had pokey ribs. My mom has it and so does my sister. Turns out I have a pretty severe case of rib flare from pectus excavatum. Not one single doctor ever said anything about it until I was 30 years old. And I was there for something else. The look on his face when he brought it up and realized I had no idea what he was talking about made me feel like I grew up in a village that only had a witch doctor or something. Someone once told me they didn't understand the hype around lobster while having a lobster dinner. Was it the prickly sensation in the mouth? Turns out he was allergic to lobster but ate it to fit in with his friends and family. It took me many years to realize the noise in my ears is not the sound of my own blood flow, but tinnitus. And not everyone has it. Doctors told me for years that my menstrual difficulties were nothing much and ended up needing a hysterectomy. I thought I was just crazy, but it turned out I had really high estrogen levels instead and needed a specific kind of hormonal BC to balance it out. When I showed my friend who's a doctor, she said, "Oh, no wonder you were nuts." My mom had to tell me in urgent care that pain so bad you can't sleep isn't a 2-3. That was a fun way to find out I get muscle spasms in my shoulder. I went in for a routine eye exam and was told to immediately go to the ER because something was squeezing the backs of my eyes in. I got there and was asked if I had headaches. I said, "Just the normal amount." Thankfully, a med student asks, "What do you think is normal?" Turns out that having a headache 50 of your waking hours is not normal. I'd been that way for so long I had no idea it was unusual. BTW. I have a manageable neurological condition. And now that it's being managed, I have the actual normal number of headaches, which is about 1 per week or 2. The condition is called idiopathic intracranial hypertension. Apparently not everyone knows they need to do a number 2 by really bad pain in the stomach. Took me 30 years to realize this. Fatigue. Turns out I was anemic. What did you think was normal but turned out to be a medical issue? It's not normal to have to poop 5-6 times a day. Turns out I have IBS-D. Turns out my intolerance to cold and dry skin wasn't me having moved from South Florida to upstate New York and those problems stemming from it. It was part of chronic hypothyroidism. As a kid, I'd impress people by bending the top joints of my fingers and being able to push my thumb down so it touches the inside of my forearm. Turns out that is not just a quirk, but Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. ETA, by no means am I saying that if you're capable of doing this, that instantly means you have it. There's a list of criteria that needs to be met. This ability just so happens to be part of said criteria. If you can relate, please reach out to your doctor. I had to basically convince my doctor to test me, but not every experience is the same. Stomach pain after every meal. Turns out that not everybody gets that, and it's actually quite concerning. Also, maybe not medical but still fits the question. I genuinely thought being suicidal was the norm. LMAO. Constant neck-shoulder pain finally got so bad I went to the doctor. After physical therapy was no help, I finally got an MRI of my spine. Doctor shows me the pictures of my spine and it looks like a snake. I've undiagnosed scoliosis. 35 years of on-off pain. My mom told me that it was normal to have headaches a week before, during, and after your period. So 3 weeks out of 4. Turns out that's a persistent daily headache and should be looked into by a neurologist. My third ball never made sense to me. You don't have 3 of anything else. It didn't drop until I was 14 or 15 and it was really small, so doctors didn't notice it until I mentioned it, and it's not like they were poking around my junk anyway since I didn't have any issues in that department. I am allergic to oranges. I've known this since I was a child. It's a mild allergy, so I still eat oranges. One day at work I was eating a cutie at my desk and suddenly realized something. My coworkers were horrified when I asked if cuties were supposed to be prickly. Heartburn several times a day. Upwards of 5 or 6 times. Was in a Discord call with some friends. And after the 3rd time of burp, sorry y'all. Heartburn. And everyone saying, hey man, maybe you should get that checked out. I still haven't due to a shortage of doctors in my city. But some relatives suspect it may be undiagnosed GERD. I obtained nerve issues in my neck from stress that turned into permanent pain. Hardened muscle and muscle fatigue. Though that was normal stress symptoms for years. Some people can walk outside and not squint. I have squinted or worn sunglasses for my entire life. I can literally stare at the ground and I have to squint my eyes. In other news, I have blue eyes. Close your eyes and picture something, dude. My eyes are closed, I see black. I read an article about aphantasia and then realized that people actually can see things. I thought I just had arthritis because I used to bend myself into a pretzel and twist my fingers in disgusting ways to gross people out as a kid. And I thought I got dizzy and massively overheated all the time for no reason because IDK. Because I didn't dress properly, I guess. I have fibromyalgia and hypermobility spectrum disorder, and no, it isn't normal to have arthritis in your early teens. Autism. Growing up Gen X, I encountered the occasional person who seemed to exhibit traits characteristic of what is diagnosed today as autism. But I never thought anything about it being a serious issue until it became a thing in the past several decades or so, it seems like. Apparently not everyone gets diarrhea whenever the fan is on. Still don't know what is up though. Double vision turned out to be a brain tumor. Passing out during my periods from the pain. 5 gynecologists told me I was being dramatic. Then I gave birth. Had an appointment afterwards to make sure I was fine. Asked the midwife if painkillers existed because I didn't want to endanger my baby's WTF. Do you mean you pass out from the pain, ma'am? Not really an underlying condition, but I thought I had allergies. Got fed up with allergy pills and sprays not helping. Went to get allergy tested so I could do the shots. Turns out I'm allergic to nothing. Absolutely nothing. They send me to ENT and now I'm waiting to have a turbinectomy, septoplasty, and need my sinuses drained and a polyp removed. Could have had this done 8 years ago when my symptoms started, but they kept saying it was just allergies and never really looked into it. Coughing every day for years. I just thought it was normal. Turns out it was a combo of GERD, some allergies, and cleaning my ears after every shower with Q-tips. I thought everyone coughed uncontrollably several times a day and just hid it better than I did.